So,
what'd you do this weekend?
I went to Comic-Con.
Yay!
Actually, yesterday went to Comic-Con.
In Detroit.
Yes, in Detroit. Well, Motor City.
Isn't Detroit the Motor City?
I don't know. It was like, it seemed like it was separate, but I don't know if it's like
I mean, I think that's just Detroit's nickname.
I don't know.
Well, now...
All I know is that we didn't go to downtown Detroit. It was like outskirts.
Oh, okay.
So.
All right. Okay. Anyway.
Is it different?
I'm looking it up because it was in Novi, Michigan, but it's called the Motor City Comic Con because Detroit is the Motor City.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, I knew it wasn't in Detroit, but it was called Motor City. So
It would be kind of awesome if that was the city name, but yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Anyway.
It was very fun. Dad said that we wouldn't be able to get through it all, even within the time of open to close, and we got through it within like 2 hours. But
He was wrong.
Yes.
Mark it down, people.
maybe he's just used to going to things with you.
Oh, that was rude. That was so rude, but fair.
No, Shelby and I are both very quick. So there were here. I'll show you the map because I have a little.
That'll be exciting for our listeners. Here's the map that you can't see.
Showing you so you can see because there's 900 vendors.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten through all that.
And then there's all like the crafters and the artists that are in the back, and that's like another over 100 or so, like a couple hundred. Plus you had all of the celebrity guests that were over on the side. But I mean, Shelby and I are able to just kind of walk past things and like look at things. And
yeah, I'm a wanderer. I like to, stop and look at. Although,
yeah, we went aisle by aisle and
yeah, I mean, there are some things I could probably just walk by, but part of the problem I have is if I stop, and we saw this happened at the Toledo Comic Arts Festival. If I stop at a booth and I start talking to somebody, I feel obligated to buy something.
Oh, no, I don't.
And it was easier when I absolutely just did not have the money. It wasn't even a choice. It was like,
that's,
you know what I mean? Like, well, I'm like, I can't afford anything. Sorry. Slink away.
That is what's so great about going to places like that with Shelby is because she gets so caught up in looking at their wares. She doesn't even realize they're talking. So she'll just walk away. And so I'll just follow her then. And I'm like, I don't have to make up an excuse now because she's the one that just gets up.
And they're like, well, that was rude. It was in the middle of a sentence.
Well, I also told Shelby that in things like this, we never have to worry about being the rudest ones.
Oh, probably, sure.
Because there's always going to be someone that comes to the table and be like, why is it so expensive?
Yeah, I don't it's interesting because I was telling a friend of mine that you went to this. And she was telling me that she went to LeakyCon, which is a Harry Potter convention. And she said that those are known as like the nicest conventions of all, like of these kinds of things. And it in some ways it doesn't surprise me. I don't know why. I just feel like, yeah, of course, Harry Potter.
Meanwhile, video game conventions are full of whiners.
I am sure. Like, that's what I've started picturing. I'm like, video game conventions are probably the worst.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah. And I just don't understand that. I don't understand. If there's a problem, say you purchase a product and it's like defective or it's something's wrong with it or whatever, I can understand being like, hey, I just bought this from you, but look, like what, but why fight with somebody about the price?
Yeah, I don't.
Why is this so expensive?
You just paid over $100 for tickets. Why?
Right.
Like, you got to expect going to any convention like this that things are going
to be pricey.
Yeah. Like each sticker or like Lego minifig or things as small as that were like base $5.
Yeah.
Like nothing was below $5 there.
Yeah. And you can get stuff like that if you want something to take home. And I just don't understand, especially when it comes to like artists. People really, because we have such mass production of things in our country.
Yeah.
And you can get all kinds of things at dollar stores and Walmart and stuff like that. People do not understand how much work goes into like a single person crafting something.
Especially stuff that has like stuff that they don't get. Like there was this controller shop where they were selling their own painted controllers that they had painted. And each controller was like $150 to $200. And people were complaining about the prices for that because they can just get a controller for $70
So
or
go
something
do
like
it.
that. Yes, for one thing. Yeah, they did have a Spider-Man painted one that like looked just as good as the one that they're selling for the new Spider-Man game that came out, but for double the price. And I was like, that one was kind of a little bit of a miss on your part. But I mean, if people are at the convention and they're just throwing money at everyone, then
Right.
you might be able to get someone to buy
But
it.
also the time it takes you is the time it takes you. And
Yeah.
that time is worth
But
something.
I'm also saying like they probably didn't get sponsored by the video game companies, which means they had to buy each controller
Oh, sure.
and then paint it. So that means no matter what, it's going to be more than what the painted controllers are going to cost
Yeah.
for PlayStation, because you have to buy the $60 or $70 controllers is
At
usually
retail
what they,
price.
Yeah, is usually what they cost.
Yeah.
Maybe if you buy them bulk, you can get a small discount, but not
Yeah, I don't
much.
know.
And then, but all the paint supplies you have to buy, and actually the man work and everything like that. Then, and they probably messed up a couple controllers too. Like they might have had to throw out a couple controllers.
Sure. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but I got two things that were about $50 each. Got a really cool Spider-Man Venom and Carnage 3D poster. So as you turn it, you can see the different of the three. It would be so cool if someone figured out how to do 3D posters where you could see like Spider-Man turning into Venom.
I'm sure, actually, I would not be surprised if that exists, honestly.
Maybe not a 3D one, but I guess if the 3D one existed, it would have to be like the second image was part of the transformation and then the
Yeah.
third image was
Right.
Venom.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I meant like as you turned it, you could see the
Oh, it'd
transformation.
be like, yeah, okay. Yeah.
That would be cool,
Yeah, it
but
would
I don't
be
think
cool.
that's like physically possible without doing like some kind of digital thing with it.
Yeah.
But
And by
then-
the way, we'll have a video up showing off all of Malcolm's goodies
Yes.
on social.
I also bought, for anyone who's played the newer God of War games, I have the Leviathan axe that Kratos uses that has like frost powers and stuff, and it looks sick. I'm very pleased with my purchase.
And then Shelby got,
Got Funko Pops. It's Loki and Chewie, and then a bunch of like D&D
oh,
stickers.
that's D&D stuff. Okay.
Yeah, there's the Vanisher kitten, Beholder, and some other stuff. But then I also got this like frog wizard thing.
Oh, that's cool.
That's funny. And then also Biter Man.
That's
swings
awesome.
both ways.
Biter Man that swings both ways. That's awesome.
Yes. That's definitely my favorite sticker.
That
on there.
that is great. That's funny. Yeah, so we'll put up a video showing off all this stuff. Of course, seeing the Loki sitting there made me think about the Loki season finale, but anyway. Which was amazing.
Yeah, it was also cool just seeing everyone in their different like cosplays and stuff too. Like you had a lot of like kids that were just in normal outfits, but there was someone that was in like this really good, like this was a kid too, like probably like 14 or 15, but still, but had this amazing Mr. Knight outfit
Oh yeah.
from Moon Knight, the one with the suit and everything.
The put on the suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it was the perfect. It was like exact, and
Really?
yeah, it was
Wow.
so good. Even his eyes were glowing.
What? That's what's amazing to me about these cons is like some of the cosplay is really
Yeah.
out of this world.
They also had like a Ghostbusters booth where they had the car, they had a giant inflatable. It was the biggest thing that was at the Comic-Con. That was the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Was
it? Was
it?
from floor to ceiling.
That is awesome.
And it's basically the size of like an airport hangar. Because they hold all sorts of different conventions in here. And so it was like floor to ceiling, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
That's so cool.
It was really cool. And then obviously a bunch of people that were dressed as the Ghostbusters or
Sure.
The one devil lady person as well.
Oh, Oh,
Starts with a Z.
yeah.
I don't remember.
I'm very disappointed in myself that I'm not immediately coming up with that because Zool.
Zool.
I was gonna say because I've seen that movie. Like I've seen the original like
she
12 times.
Says her name like 20 times.
Yeah.
During the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but I saw on the map it said 501st up at the top, and I was like, "Is that the 501st Squad from Star Wars, which is the like the clone squad that Anakin Skywalker led in the Clone Wars show?" I saw 501st and I was like, okay, we got to see this. And I walked over, it's just a bunch of Star Wars characters. There were two R2D2s actually that were going around saying hello to people.
What?
And taking photos of people. There was also a Jawa that was walking around. There were a couple stormtroopers. There was someone who had a really good Darth Vader outfit.
Wow.
Along with a couple other Jedi as well.
That's amazing.
It's a little harder to get into the Jedi that like don't wear anything. Like someone was obviously dressed as Obi-Wan Kenobi, but I just couldn't picture them as Obi-Wan Kenobi because just different face. So it's just immediately like no.
Yeah.
But they rotated in and out. So randomly we would just see Darth Vader walking around the Comic-Con. Which is really funny.
He walks towards you with his hand held out, like, you know, up in front of him, like a chokehold, just run.
But yeah, it was really cool. And I felt so, I was like, man, I didn't realize I could still feel so nerdy at a Comic-Con for recognizing 501st on the map as the 501st Squad.
That was digging deep, man. That was impressive.
Well, what could I say?
Oh, seriously, impressive. And I see there's a celebrity guests area. Did you stop at any of those?
I mean, all of those were to get autographs by them and kind of like talk to them briefly.
Yeah.
But I can tell you who all the celebrity guests were. There's a couple on here that
It's right there, isn't it?
Yeah, that you know. But there's also a couple that you probably didn't know were going to show up.
Yeah.
Like the featured guest was David Harbour.
Oh, really?
Yep. Billy D. Williams.
What?
Yep. I was very excited to see Billy D. Williams. And then obviously the Phelps twins because
Oh,
Shelby took a picture with
the
them.
Weasley brothers
Yes.
from Harry Potter,
Yes.
for those who don't know.
Yes. Here's all the other ones, including the person that voice acted Miles Morales Spider-Man in the Spider-Man games, and there was a bunch of the cast from the Flash
Why
TV
was
show.
Scott Patterson there?
I don't
He's
know.
Luke from Gilmore Girls.
Yes, he is.
What?
He was taking pictures at the same time that the Phelps twins were.
Was he there because of Gilmore Girls?
I don't know.
Also, Chris Parnell, I don't recognize the animated thing, but I love him. He used to be a Saturday Night Live guy, and he was on 30 Rock, and he is, what was his doctor's name? I forget the doctor name. It was really weird. But do you know, recognize that?
Yeah.
What's it from?
Oh, the picture that, yeah. That's from Rick and Morty.
Oh, okay. So he voices a character. Ralph Macchio was there. What? What? Oh, Harvey. I don't know how you pronounce it. Guillen. He's from What We Do in the Shadows. Oh, I have a friend who would have been excited about that. I don't recognize a lot of the rest of these people, but Oded Fair. Oh my gosh, he was the dude in The Mummy, the guy that led the like desert people that were like protecting. Yeah. Oh, I like him. He's cool. Oh, that's really interesting. They had some pretty cool stuff here in Detroit, or there in Detroit. I guess we're not in Detroit technically. But. And Carlos Valdez, did you see him?
Yeah.
Did you talk to him?
No.
Oh, dang.
Do you know the size of these lines that
And
were
Mae
lined
Whitman. Oh my gosh, so it's funny. I see she's an animated character too. It looks like that looks kind of like.
She's Katara from the Last Airbender.
Okay, yeah. So Carlos Valdez, Cisco from
Yes.
The Flash.
Yes.
Mae Whitman played. What did you say she was?
Katara
from
The Last Airbender.
The Last Airbender. Thank you. So Carlos Valdez and Mae Whitman were in a musical show. It was a TV show that was like a musical. And now I've blanked on the name of it, but it was amazing. It was so good. So it was just kind of funny to see them like pictured together because, you know, they also worked together on that other thing, which was really good. And I didn't know Carlos Valdez was such a good singer.
Yeah, and Tom Cavanaugh was there too.
What?
Yeah.
I love Tom Cavanaugh.
So is the person that played Mace Windu in the Clone Wars TV show.
Okay, I was like, you mean Samuel L. Jackson? But
No. I think he would have been a featured guest.
yeah, I was like, and also you would have been like the guy who played. That's funny. Wow, that's awesome. Did you guys go and get any autographs or?
No, they were like $150 for.
You have to. That makes sense.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah, we got tickets to take photos with the Phelps twins. That was it.
So you had like a timed entry or something, right? And then you could take a picture with them.
Yep.
But only Shelby took a picture with them. You didn't go.
They could only take one picture, and
okay.
I figured just let Shelby do it.
So you just had to hope that you weren't like closing your eyes or something when that picture was taken.
Sure. I don't know.
You said one picture, like she got one shot at it.
Oh,
so she had to make sure she wasn't like, like.
I'm sure if that was the case, they would have redone it.
No,
but I don't know.
I don't know. They're limited time and whatnot.
Yeah, they were really pushing people through.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. So she got a picture with the Weasley twins. I saw it and I was really disappointed their hair wasn't red, but I'm like, right. They can't always look like their characters in what they, that's not how that works. So I had an interesting weekend as well, as you know.
Yes.
So
everyone's seen celebrities.
I know it's like a celebrity weekend. So I went to New York, and I went to an event where I met Anderson Cooper, and then very, very briefly Chuck Schumer. Anderson. So I have to tell you the story because it's funny. So first of all, Anderson Cooper is like the nicest person on the face of the planet. He had people lined up to take pictures with him, and he was just taking picture after picture for at least a half hour. And he was very patient with people, and he let people take multiples. And so I was standing next to this woman who was like, Anderson, will you FaceTime with my mom? She loves you so much. And he goes, sure. And I was like, after that, will you FaceTime with my husband? He's a big fan. And he's like, sure. So he FaceTimed with this woman's mother. And then it was time for me to do it, but I did not warn your dad because it all happened so fast, right?
Yeah.
So I pull up FaceTime and your dad answers and he's not wearing a shirt and he's just kind of looking at me. And I was like, hey, someone wants to say hello. And I started to tilt it toward Anderson and he flipped it your dad flipped the video to be like towards his feet, but then he realized he was basically just sitting in bed in his underwear. Mm-hmm. And he was like, well, now you can see like, you know what I mean? So he just turned off his camera altogether. And I was like, and so I'm like, this is my husband, Don, and I turn it and he's like, well, where is he? Where's Don? And I turn him like, where are you? And I can't hear. It's so loud. And I turn it back and he's like, well, hi, Don. And then and so it's kind of funny because somebody took a picture while I was doing that. And the picture is great because I'm holding the phone with one hand and my other hand is like, where is he? And Anderson Cooper's face is like, where is he?
It's a very obvious where is he photo.
It is definitely but he was super, super nice. And then he let me do a selfie with him later. I was like, I know you talked to my husband, but would you be willing? And he's like, yeah, and I have long arms, so let me hold the phone. And like, he took the picture and he's like, oh, I don't know if that's good enough. And I was like, I didn't want to bother him too much. I was like, no, it's fine. And like ran away. And I realized like, I just have like this big glare in my glasses. And I think he was being nice, be like, let's try it again and try to, but anyway, he was super nice. Like, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so there were two nights, like two events back to back. And Chuck Schumer came to the next event, Senator Chuck Schumer, the majority leader. I know you don't really pay attention to that, but that's who that is. And he gave a speech, which was actually very entertaining. And then he basically like bolted for the door and I practically tackled him on his way out. I was like, can I get a selfie with you? He's like, sure. So
wanted to avoid it as much as possible, probably.
He was like his advanced team was basically like, yeah, he's like popping in, popping out because he has a million other things to be at. So, yeah, so those were my two celebrity encounters, and I have to tell you, like, I was all panicked before the first event because I'm not a fancy person, you know, so it was very last minute that I was going to these events, and I did not own fancy clothes for these events. So I went out and I had to find things, and I just spent hours and hours searching and trying to find something because the American clothing industry hates plus sized women, by the way. Like, I would find like this super cute thing, and then I'd be like, oh, I'm in the regular size section, and they didn't go up to my size, you know.
The American fashion industry only believes in one size for
I'm telling you, like,
everyone.
like I went to Dillard's and I went through the other sections, and there's like just 5 million different things, right? There's like so many choices. And I was like, okay, I want to see if I can find that in the plus size section. It's perfect. And then I go to like the plus size section, and everything is so like just dresses that just like hang, and there was nothing colorful. And it was all like, I mean, it was like, oh, ladies, clearly you must hate your body and want to hide. Like, that was basically the idea. It was all shapeless, like, it was so incredibly disappointing. So, I mean, I ended up just getting something from Lane Bryant because they cater to plus size women. And fortunately, they had something exactly what I needed in my size. But I mean, man, like, seriously, it sucks. But anyway, but the problem is the zipper zipped up the back, and I was staying by myself in the hotel room. So I got this zipper puller thing, like you attach to the zipper and then you can like pull it up over, you know. And, but I couldn't find it right before the event. And I was waiting to put my dress on last minute because I didn't want to spill anything on it, or, you know what I mean? So then I'm trying to like reach around and like pull it up and everything. And the zipper like sounded like it broke, and I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And it took me like 10 minutes because it just like, it was like all the way up on the one side and like halfway down on the other.
Oh,
like,
I know what you're
you know
talking
what I
about.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
the zipper was off, and I'm panicking because I'm supposed to meet someone. Like, I was late meeting someone to get an Uber over, and I was just like, oh my God. But anyway, yeah, that was like I mean, it's in the grand scheme of things, nothing, but in that moment, it felt like the worst, you know. And I'm like getting all sweaty because I'm anxious, and I'm like, great. Like,
I never understood that. Why can't they just make dresses so you just get in them like a shirt?
Because it'll help. It'll stay to your form if you zip it up. If you just have to get in it, then it has to be kind of like if you pull it over your head or something. Well, with this material, with the material that it was. Okay. Otherwise, like, you know, you'd have to either use like what was it, like Lycra, spandex, like the Uber form fitting stuff, or it has to be like loose. So yeah, so that's the negative part was traveling by myself and having to do that, but. And also traveling has changed a lot. Like, I haven't flown since before the pandemic. And yeah.
Me neither.
Well, you haven't flown since you were 5.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's changed. That's changed a lot, and that really like, and in for the better. There were like fewer things you had to, I have to say though, I thought it was funny that I was traveling somewhat frequently back in 2018, 2019. So I decided to do that TSA pre-check, which basically you can get through the airport faster because they've like put you through all these security measures and you're a quote unquote known traveler. And I got that. I finally got TSA pre-check in October of 2019. I used it once, and then the pandemic hit, and I was like, sorry, pandemic's my fault because I got it. That's the way things work for me. So yeah. But it's still good for another year, so I was able to use it. But anyway,
that's good.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a fun weekend, and apparently we're full of celebrities here.
Yes, we are. It was really cool. It was also cool just seeing, because there was a lot of, not only was there like the celebrity guests, but there was also just a lot of don't know what the term would be. Like they are celebrities, but they're only celebrities to people who like know artists from comics and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. It's kind of like
It's
how
the niche
academics.
art, celebrities.
Well, it's kind of like how there's like quote unquote celebrities in like the academic world.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
so
But yeah, so it was cool walking around and seeing some of their art as well, because they had done art before for Marvel or Star Wars or Halo even. So that was also cool. And then of course Comic-Con being Comic-Con, there were some more not sketchy artists, but sketchy artists. But like very I feel like derogatory is the closer word for it.
derogatory.
Yeah, there was just artists that were like very, I don't know how to describe this.
Derogatory is like negative.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Were they not nice? They were.
No, it was just like drawing women inappropriately, drawing men inappropriately. Like,
okay. Yeah. So for anybody considering maybe going in the future, like what do you like? Was this a good event? Like, would you go again?
Yeah. Shelby and I are possibly thinking about going every year or like every other year. So
It is a yearly thing.
yeah, I think it's like a bi-yearly thing, like as in 2 a year.
Oh, you know what? This thing that I had pulled up says usually held in May.
It's held in May next year.
Okay.
It's held May
Well, then-
17th, 9th through the 19th next year.
Well, then you don't have to wait until November to go back.
Yeah.
I mean, there was some like big names on there they got, so this isn't like
Yeah.
a little itty bitty
Oh no. This is a Comic-Con. Like
Yeah.
it might not be as big as like
San Diego. Yeah.
Comic-Con, but because they also don't have like big announcements and stuff that happen. Where San Diego
Right,
San
yeah.
Diego Comic-Con always has
They
like
big reveals and
yeah. Especially for stuff like Marvel. But this doesn't. This has good guests. This has good people in general. Just I mean, there was some really cool stuff. Like there's a lot of cool D&D tables with cool D&D dice. Although I'll never just on a whim buy a $40 to $60 dice set. So.
Yeah, right.
But there's also cool stuff like somebody had made like bags of holding and stuff like that you could use in your campaigns.
It's always been such a funny name to me. Bag of holding.
As if it's supposed to do something
right,
else.
Like, that's what bags do. Like
I mean, you put a bag over someone's
is
head
my
and just
T-shirt of wearing. I don't know. Like it's Wait, did you just say you could put a bag over someone's head?
yes.
That's another use for
It is another use,
but then it's holding someone's head.
I guess.
I guess not technically holding someone's head, but
Yeah. Yeah, if you were to let the bag go, it's not holding their head anymore.
that's fair.
But yeah, but they're selling all sorts of like little knickknacks like that you could like use to kind of make your D&D session a little bit more immersive. And there's some like minis ones. There are obviously some like Lego set ones from like, I really hope people realize that this stuff is cheaper at Target. Although there are some people that were selling out of date Lego sets. So Lego sets that have like recently been taken out of stock.
Yeah. You probably have some of those.
Oh, I have a ton of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean anything that I bought more
Anybody wants to buy them?
no, I'm not getting rid of them.
You're not okay.
Any that I bought or got 2 years ago, more than 2 years ago, are out of rotation now.
Oh, really?
It only takes 2 years for them to go out.
But I mean, there's got to be some things that still like they got to still make like.
They remake them.
Oh, are they different styles?
Kind of. I mean, they usually make them with like Lego's always advancing, so they always get newer and better bricks.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Okay.
So like the new AT-ATs and the new Millennium Falcon are like bigger and they're more complex and they look better. But they don't sell the original sets that I own for Millennium Falcon and
That's interesting. So if someone liked a particular set for some reason, they might look for it.
yeah.
Okay.
So I think at this point they've probably had 4 or 5 Millennium Falcons or something like that. Like you also have like minifig type things. So,
Oh yeah. The minifigs. Yeah.
and my guess is Poppy is unplugging some of.
Nope. That's sounds coming from downstairs.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, you know what? Yeah, that's my. Those were my speakers making that sound.
Oh, Poppy's over there resting until she's ready to go on the attack again.
I say, be careful saying that.
I
'cause
know. I don't.
as soon as you said that, her head perked up.
Yeah,
and
she was like, "Oh, someone's ready to be
Nope.
slashed."
now
Okay.
she's stretching.
She's getting ready. Oh yeah.
But yeah, there was obviously Star Wars stuff, Marvel stuff. I mean, where I got the Leviathan axe from, there are multiple of those like weapon stands where you can get. Yeah, it's great. Welcome to America. No, it's just a bunch of fantasy weapons. So like there was stuff like the original. I really wanted to get the original Magnum from the first Halo game, but then I saw that axe and I was like, actually, I really wanted that Halo Combat Evolved Magnum, but that caught my attention more. So. But then there was stuff from, I mean, I'm sure Final Fantasy people make so much money off of all of the giant swords that are in the Final Fantasy games
Yeah.
because there were so many of those everywhere.
I would actually be really curious about like how much revenue for certain things comes from like a movie, for example, like comes from the movie ticket sales versus merchandise. Because I feel like merchandise has got to be a big part of
got to
it.
be higher.
You think
I
it's
feel like.
higher?
Yes.
I wasn't sure if it'd be higher or not, but I figured it had to be pretty significant.
I've already paid as much money on God of War merchandise than I have on the actual games themselves, and I'm not a big merchandise person. So
That's true,
so then
you're
imagine
not,
what
yeah.
somebody who like really likes
Like
God of
collects
War and
things
likes to
and-
collect things
yeah.
is going to pay like 3 times as much, if not more than that,
Interesting.
for merchandise stuff.
Well, and I think even...
I
Sorry, go ahead.
also wonder how much stuff is from fans selling stuff and how much stuff is from the company selling stuff. Because a lot of this stuff, I would assume, is fans making.
I always wondered
this
about
stuff.
that, though. There's got to be some legal, I wonder about some of the fan-made stuff. Like, can you just do it?
You might have to get some kind of right from them, but it might not be hard. Like maybe you just have to like prove that you're a business.
I don't know. I remember Jim Beard talking about how
There's probably some level of royalties that go.
well, what was it? He wrote a book that was about the Batman TV show from like the 60s. But it was stories from the show. It wasn't like a Batman story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he had some kind of cover art on it that he ended up having to change it. It got taken down off of Amazon and stuff. And he ended up having to change it because it was considered like a copyright, thing. And he was like, I didn't think it would be because it was like a fair use thing. I'm like writing about the history of the show and, but yeah. So I don't know. I'm curious about what people can do.
Fair use can be very fidgety.
Yeah, I think there's. Yeah.
I mean, it's like I've had to be careful on it with my stuff. But honestly, if you stay within like, for audio at least, if you stay within like the 15-second realm.
Oh, you're talking about like using a snippet of something.
Yeah, if you stay within like the 15-second realm of using a snippet of something, then it's fine. If you're talking about something, then it's fine because then it's considered like reaction.
Right. Yeah. Commentary. I think satire is another.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Which is why people can do videos, be like, let's explore the Loki season 2 ending and like show bits of it.
If you ever see people on YouTube that are being like there's one person that I watch. I can't remember his name, but he's the one who does Screen Crush.
Oh yeah, yeah.
he's not a very emotive person. And so he was worried because he did like a live reaction thing to the Echo trailer. And he was worried because he realized he didn't emote much. Because if you don't emote much, then YouTube will take it.
Oh,
will
because
take
it's
that
just
out.
like you're just like playing it and being there.
Yeah. You have to be like, that's why everyone on YouTube who's watching something is always like doing something or like emotive, because you have to be. Otherwise, your stuff will get taken down.
I actually get really annoyed about that on TikTok because somebody will do a duet. I know you're not really on
No,
there.
I know what duet is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And all they'll do is sit there while the other thing is going on. And then every once in a while, maybe they'll like nod their head in a knowing way or something. And I'm like, why are you stealing videos from this person's view?
I hate reaction content.
Or views from this person's videos. Like,
I hate reaction content.
if they're going to say something about it, like play a snippet and then be like, let's discuss this more. I understand that.
At least a duet links their video though, right?
It does. It does.
YouTube, you don't have to do that.
That's true.
YouTube, you can literally play something and just react to it, but not tell anyone who it's from.
Yeah.
Which is extremely messed up.
But you can repost videos on TikTok. And I'm like, I've heard some people be like, well, I want to give it a platform. I'm like, well, you want to give it a platform, repost it, or play a snippet from it and be like, you need to go watch the rest of this video or something. I don't know. Cause it's just stealing views from other creators. It really is. You know?
That's why you shouldn't watch Asmongold.
Huh?
Asmongold's like one of the biggest ones on YouTube, and that's literally all his content is. And he gets more views than the person who actually made the video in the first place.
That sucks.
Yeah. So we don't usually call people out, but I'm perfectly fine calling out assholes. So,
well, and you're punching up, which is, I think, a requirement.
Yes.
You know,
it also makes it easier to hit someone in the dick if you're punching up. So,
if you're on the floor,
yeah, I mean, you can still come up from below.
I'm trying to picture this scenario.
What, be prone on the floor, just like
but just
punching straight up.
Oh my god,
I meant get some curve into your punch.
Okay,
or something.
sure, but you have to like hook down and like, you know.
I didn't mean like just drop down onto the ground and punch up.
Oh, I'd just kick them.
Fair enough.
Why make things complicated? So anyway, well, it sounds like you had a great weekend.
Yes.
I had a really good weekend as well. Also amazing food, by the way. We went to Chef Jose Andres's restaurant. He's that world kitchen guy who like sweeps into countries and feeds people after disasters. And he's like, he did the whole thing in Puerto Rico after all that devastation in Puerto Rico. He went in, like, cooked meals for people. And so super awesome guy, but also the restaurant is amazing. So if you're in New York City near Hudson Yards, go to Little Spain.
And I'd also recommend just looking at the Motor City Comic Con website, because they have all of the celebrity guests, all of the comic guests, all of the vendors, everything listed. And there was some really cool stuff. And
for us in the Toledo area, that's nearby. You don't have to get a hotel, and
yeah,
you know.
So yeah, it's very nice. It was very fun.
I'm glad you had a good time. I'm glad you got to do that. I'm glad Shelby got to meet the Weasley brothers.
Yes.
I know it was supposed to be Draco Malfoy.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Tom Felton, but he canceled. But luckily the Phelps brothers seems like they're really into fan service, so
that's awesome.
They pretty much say yes to everything, it sounds like.
Okay, so I have to tell you this real quick before we go. Remember I told you my friend went to LeakyCon?
Yes.
Okay, she went during the writer's strike, and so they could not talk about any produced movies or like upcoming projects or anything.
Interesting.
So they could only talk about like what it's like to be an actor, like their personal life story and stuff like that. And which I thought was actually really interesting. I thought, wow, they probably don't get to talk about that. It's mostly like, what's it like to play Harry Potter, or like whatever, you know what I mean? Like, so I thought that was pretty cool. But she said that Tom Felton, because they couldn't do that. He played, he had written a bunch of songs, and so he played guitar and sang his songs for like 45 minutes.
That's funny.
And I was like, you know what? Like, if you were like had a burning fan question, that would kind of suck. But like, how many people can be like, oh, I just like listened to Tom Felton play guitar for 45 minutes? You know what I mean? Like, so that's kind of an interesting, unique experience. But yeah. So anyway, sounds like some awesome places to go. Motor City Comic Con. It's in May. And then if you're in New York City, go to Little Spain. If you can meet Anderson Cooper, I recommend it.
Yes.
But other than that,
Meet your heroes.
yeah, they tell you not to, but worked out well for us this time.
Yeah. I've never had a problem with it.
Yeah.
So.
So,
All right. Well,
time to go.